Hi kids, welcome to Restyle Secrets. Heidi here. Hope you're doing well. I sell mostly pre-owned clothing on Ebay and Poshmark, which I source mostly from thrift stores. And if you're an old friend of mine, welcome back. You know all that. So hello and thank you for coming. So this video is going to be about my experience using Vendoo, which is a Chrome extension software application that resellers use to more easily post their items to more than one platform, what's commonly called cross-posting or cross-listing. I've been using Vendoo for the months of February and March, and it is now just the beginning of the second week of April, so just over 60 days, and I wanted to share my experience. This is not a sponsored video or was not done at Vendoo's request. I do have a discount code, an affiliate code, if you decide to try Vendoo, but we'll talk about that at the end. A lot of other people have codes too, so you can choose whoever you want to support. But if you're interested, I'll talk about that at the end. This is not a how-to video, but I'm just going to go over the process that I went through in implementing Vendoo and a few things that were important to me that I figured out that might be important to you in making your decision, or things you were puzzled about or curious about, and then my final impressions. And spoiler, I do plan to continue using Vendoo, and I put timestamps in the code in the description box, so if you want to skip straight to my review rather than discussion of why I decided to do this, you can do that. So for context, I have been selling on eBay and Poshmark for more than 6 years. I've given up on Poshmark several times over the years. I kind of refer to Poshmark as a bad boyfriend, the one you can't resist, but you keep going back to, and then they keep letting you down. But I finally ironed out my relationship with Poshmark as best as I can. Two ways are using software. I use PosherVA to share my closet, because that was a huge annoyance, and that helped my sales a lot. And I've also started using, of course, Vendoo for cross-posting, which I'm talking about today. So Poshmark and I are not monogamous, but we do have a mutually beneficial relationship now. My main sales are probably 60% on eBay and 40% on Poshmark. So if you already understand the benefits of cross-posting or cross-listing using software, you can skip this next part. I had a lot of issues with Poshmark. Sharing was huge. It was just so annoying. And so I got PosherVA to take care of that. There wasn't a lot of sales data in the beginning, or analytics, or you basically knew what you had sold. Poshmark gradually added more and more tools. My Posher tools, or whatever it's called, Closet Insights. There's a lot more sales data, but it's not as easily extractable and usable as eBay is, but it's much, much better. So I also have an issue with Poshmark. When you're looking at comp data, sold comps, you have no idea when they're from, because the date doesn't include the year. I don't know why that doesn't matter to them, but it doesn't. So I used to manually cross-post by having two windows open on my desktop, copying, pasting the items, uploading the photos twice, and then clicking, list on both. But the issues about listing on more than one platform that frighten people are, it's more work to create two listings. You have to monitor your sales more closely, so you delete the sold items from the other platform so you don't sell them twice. Being out of stock or not having the item that you've got listed on eBay, so eBay calls it being out of stock, is it seems a more serious problem on eBay than Poshmark, because it can lead to damage to your seller status, even to suspension or even termination of your eBay account. Being out of stock on Poshmark doesn't seem as serious, but we don't really know what Poshmark does to your account behind the scenes if you cancel a lot of orders in a short period of time or lifetime. we don't really know. So it could be your listings don't get shown as much if you have a lot of cancellations. We don't know. So it's not a great idea to sell things more than once. And having a software extension that keeps track and makes it easier for you to list those items is a great thing. So I previously listed all of my items on eBay and most of them on Poshmark. And I had 2 windows open, and I would copy and paste and upload the photos twice, usually from my phone, so I didn't have to put them in the cloud. And yeah, photos. I've never used any other cross-posting software, so I can't compare their features or the cost or which one is better. I don't know. But as my store grew, creating duplicate listings was taking more and more time. And once I got PosherVA, I was listing everything on both platforms because it was easier to share, right? I copy and pasted drafts. I was constantly checking both platforms for sales and immediately deleting items. My eBay notifications are easier to adjust to get just sales and just offers. Poshmark notifications are not as easy to fine tune, so I was checking Poshmark probably every couple hours to see if something had sold there. So on February 1st, 2024, I decided to try Vendoo. I had committed to fully listing everything on Poshmark, and my sales were, after a year using PosherVA, my sales were more reliable. So I got a great discount code for Vendoo. Someone had been, that I watch occasionally on YouTube, had been offered a steeper discount. So it was like 40% instead of the usual 25%. So I used their code and I signed up for the first month. There's also a smartphone app, so I tend to use both, but I do the bulk of my work on my Mac, so on a computer. But I do some of the features using the app as well. So Vendoo has written help on their website. There's a link to help where you can read a lot of articles. They have a live onboarding that they invite you to. I've accepted the invitation twice, but I don't manage to make it. I'm in Eastern time, and so it's like at 9 p.m., and I'm usually totally forget. I'm checked out of work at that time. Plus, Vendoo has a YouTube channel with a lot of videos on there. And actually, Erin, as a friend that I made years ago on Clubhouse, made many of those videos. So if you're curious about how Vendoo works and you like to watch videos, go to Vendoo's YouTube channel and check it out. So I figured out how to use Vendoo without doing any of those things. I didn't read the online help, I didn't go to the onboarding, and I haven't watched very many of the videos. But it's pretty intuitive. If you use software, any other kind of software, you can figure it out by clicking on things. I'm sure there's great features that I've missed or tips and tricks that I don't know about, but maybe I'll get to one of those onboarding sessions soon. So additional features of Vendoo, beyond just making it easy to create a listing and post it in multiple places, it can serve as your inventory data center. My friend Lori Tata calls it her hub. So you create an inventory form with information about the item that you're going to sell. And there's a place for cost of goods. There's a place for your custom SKU, which will carry over to your platforms. There's also, Vendoo has labels. So you could decide to create a label for, Goodwill Store A, Goodwill Store B, Salvation Army Store 1, and mark each item with where you purchased it. I have a different spreadsheet that I've been keeping for 6 years where I do that, but you could say, men's shirts as a Vendoo label, and then sort and review your inventory based on labels that you create, which is very handy. It has templates you can create for faster listing. It keeps track of every sale and the profit on that sale once you enter in all the data by platform, by category, by your best-selling brands. So it has a lot of the analytic data that Poshmark provides, and eBay does in a different way, but this pulls it all together from all your platforms. It has automatic sales detection and delisting from other platforms. This is very handy. So if an item is listed on eBay and Poshmark, and Vendoo apparently pulls polling is like checking in, where a computer will check in on something periodically. So Vendoo polls your listings on platforms, and when it detects that something is sold, it goes to the other platform, and on Poshmark it would delete it, and on eBay it would end it. And then that shows up in your Vendoo hub that you've sold the item and that it's been delisted from the other platform. There is one thing that is a pitfall here for sales detection and delisting, but it's not Vendoo's fault, it's Poshmark's fault. And that is that if Poshmark has outstanding offers, you can't delete that item unless you edit it in some way. We all change the size, right? Then relist it and then delete it. But Vendoo will tell you if you sold an item on eBay and it couldn't remove it from Poshmark, on the sale record, there'll be a flag, like an error warning. And you just click on that and it tells you Vendoo couldn't remove this from Poshmark. So you have to go manually delete it and then tell Vendoo, okay, I delisted it. So it's a great feature, though, to have automatic sales detection. So for an additional fee, there are 3 more features. And each one costs $4.99 a month. You import your items, and I only paid for that feature for my first month. And importing is bringing all your active inventory into Vendoo so it can start keeping track of it going forward. The delist and relist function, this is for stale items that you want to take down off of a platform and then relist the same item as a new listing. They have that function for $4.99 a month. And then all 10 marketplaces for $4.99 a month instead of just 3 per item. So you don't have to choose just 3 marketplaces, but each item can only be listed on 3 places unless you pay for the upgrade for $4.99, and then you could list each item 4 or 5 or 6, whatever, you see? So there's a bundle where if you get all 3 add-ons, you save about $3 a month. Currently, so in my first month, I paid for the upgrade for importing because I did all my importing in the first month and then I didn't need it anymore, so I removed that from my subscription. I recently just added delist and relist as a feature. I was always doing that on both eBay and Poshmark using their features, and now I'm going to be using Vendoo's feature instead. And there's an important reason why I need to use Vendoo's feature rather than doing it manually. And I will explain that. Should I explain it? I'll explain it later. Why you need to use Vendoo's delist, relist rather than doing it yourself on each platform. So the pricing may seem confusing. I will put up, I'm showing you Vendoo over here, but I'm going to put up, when I edit, a screenshot of Vendoo's pricing. And you'll see that it says for $8.99 a month, you get 25 items. For $19.99, 125 items, etc. And what does that mean? That means each item is one of your items for sale. And so when you have 25 items, that means 25 new items for sale. You might already have 500 items in Vendoo. You don't pay for them again. You only pay for them the first time you bring them in. So an item you pay for one time and it stays there until it sells. It still stays there. Sold or listed inventory is one item and you only pay for it one time. Okay? So when I started, I had more than 600 items to bring in from, I'm looking over to my other screen. I had more than 600 items that I wanted to import from eBay into Vendoo. So I chose the plan that was $49.99 for the first month. I had a discount code, and you will too the first time you use it, your first month. So I paid that so that I could import all of my eBay items. You can purchase additional listings for like a month if you run short for, what was it? I wrote it down here somewhere. $3.19 for 20 items. So if you had 626 items to import, You'd pay $49.99 the first month, minus your discount. Plus you'd buy 20 items at a time for $3 roughly each. And then they'd all be imported. And then you could drop down for your following month to a plan that is, let's say you list every week 10 items. So that's 40 items a month. So you would probably want the simple plan for $19.99. If you list one item every single day, that's 30 items. Maybe you want the starter plan because you'll take a few days off. So how many new items do you list each month? That's the plan that you'll sign up for going forward. If there's a month where you're not going to use up all your items in your allotment, you can create drafts. Empty items, just call them item number A, B, C, Bob, Charlie, Susan. Create those as drafts, bring in those items, and then you won't lose them. And you can use them next month, okay? So creating a draft, bringing in, however you fill out an inventory form for a new listing. First you write the draft, and then you list it to the platforms. That one item you only pay for one time. I hope that makes sense. And your month starts on the day you sign up and goes for a month. So if you start on the 15th, your new subscription starts the 15th of the next month. If you start on the 8th, it goes to the 8th, and so on. So again, your first monthly subscription will be your most expensive because you're paying to bring in all your items, whether that's from Poshmark or eBay or some other platform. If you sell on eBay, bring in eBay because it brings in the most information. But if you have 10 on eBay and 500 on Poshmark, then bring in Poshmark, obviously. So what I did was, with just over 600 items in my eBay inventory, I purchased the $49.99 plan, and then I paid $3.19 extra times 2 for 40 more items, and I paid $4.99 for importing. I only needed to pay that $4.99 for importing the first month. I imported all my eBay listings to Vendoo, and then I had to tell each item that it was listed on Poshmark. And the way you have to do that is link the item with the URL, the URL to your item. You have to tell Vendoo where that Poshmark listing is on the internet so it can automatically detect it, right? So for 600 and some items, I had to find the item on Poshmark and copy the URL and paste it into Vendoo so that it knew that it was listed on Poshmark, and here is the location. And that took me quite a few hours, but I did it for maybe an hour or two a day, and I was done in a couple of days. So it's a lot of work the first time, and I want everybody to be aware of that. You have to, if you have big stores on more than one platform, you're going to have some work bringing the data in to tell it where the item is listed on. So you import from one, the other one you have to link it, okay? If you are someone who only lists on Poshmark but you're interested in doing on eBay, then you're in great shape because you'll just take those eBay or Poshmark listings and list them. That's easy. Just click, 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 fill in the missing information and post it. But the copy paste is a little more tedious. So if you're only list on eBay right now and you want to add Poshmark or Mercari or Vestiaire, whatever, you can import from your biggest store and then cross-post or list those items on the other platform. I had almost everything on both, so I had a lot of linking to do. I hope that makes sense. So then before the end of the month, when I got everything done, I dropped my subscription down to $19.99 for 125 items, and that's where I am now. And if I have like 6 or 8 items left at the end of the month, before my subscription rolls over, I create drafts and bring those in. That's why right now I have 109 drafts, because I did not list much in March. And I had over 100 items to bring over, okay? So some additional key points. You get 1 free background removal. It makes the background white for each item that you have bring into your inventory. So you bring in a new, you add a new item, you add the photos, you can remove the background from one photo for that one item. And that would be your cover shot, of course. So if you are using Photo Room or something to remove background and you're just using one whited out photo for each item, you might be able to get rid of that. I haven't gotten rid of Photo Room yet. I buy annually, and I got it at a great deal, like $49 a year. And I've had it for quite a while, and I use it for other purposes, so I'm not going to get rid of it. And again, if you don't use up the items that you have purchased for that month, you can create drafts so you don't lose them and put them in your bank, so to speak. And then you can downsize your subscription if you need to before it renews. If an item gets returned, it's great because the item stays here even after it's sold. So the photos are still there. So this, let's say this Scarlet Darkness top gets returned for some reason. Well, here it is with all its photos. All I have to do is say, relist it on eBay or mark as not listed and then relist it if it was returned, okay? And then I could put a note in, Vendoo internal has an internal notes section where I could write to myself that this was returned on such and such a date and relisted on such and such a date if I wanted to do that. So once an item is in your inventory, it stays there, even if it's sold. When you are adding new, so you create the Vendoo form and you fill out a lot of the details about the item. Then when you go to list it on eBay, as you know, eBay has a lot of item specifics. Be sure that you click on the field called, let's see here, let's look at a draft. So let's say I was going to sell this on eBay. But then right here is show optional fields. And this is where the item specifics live. You always want to click show optional fields. Vendoo won't make you fill any of those in. It'll make you do the shipping policy. It will make you put in photos, but it won't make you do the optional fields. But I always want you to click on that as an eBay seller and fill out any of the item specifics that a buyer might use as a filter. I've talked about item specifics on eBay a lot, so no surprise there. But that's how you find them in your Vendoo form. What else did I want to say? Oh, the auto sales detection. I didn't trust it for like the first week. Every time I had a sale on one platform, I would wait 5 minutes and go check to see if it was really gone from the other platform. And it was every single time, unless there were offers outstanding on Poshmark, in which case I had to do it myself. But Vendoo tells you in the sales detection, this is still listed on, hey, there's a little triangle with a red exclamation point. This is still listed on Poshmark. You have to go fix that. So I'm currently on the plan, which is the smallest plan, for $8.99 a month because I have so many drafts. But once I get all those used up, I will probably bump back up to $20 a month. So depending on your profit per item, you could sell 1 or 2 extra items a month to cover the cost of this. So why wouldn't you? And again, there are other cross-posting, cross-listing services, software, and I haven't used any of them, so I don't know the pros and cons. I'm sure there are videos about that, but I am enjoying it a lot. I plan to keep using it. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Or if you are an experienced Vendoo user and I've said anything wrong, or you have helpful tips or corrections, please put those in the comments. And again, if you want to try Vendoo, I have a code in the description that will get you 25% off your first month. I get a commission, and but lots of other people have a code too. So if you don't want to pay me the commission, choose one of your favorite YouTubers and use their code to try Vendoo and save 25% off your first month. And again, not a sponsored video. I made this entirely on my own, and all the comments and opinions are my own. So that's what I have to share with you about Vendoo. I had fun. Thanks for coming. Bye, kids.